You know, I have preached and preached about removing your cowl on your car every so often to make sure that you don't have any leaves or anything stuck underneath it and pushed up into the drain, right? Because if you do that, all the dirt and leaves and water will just sit over there and cause your car to rust out. It is fall as of right now in this video. It's late September, early October, okay? Now I'm down south and a lot of you guys are already experiencing more of this than we are down here. Check this out. You see this? Look at that. And there's your drain down there. Okay, there's your fresh air vent right there. And then back up in there are all the leaves. It's important that we check this because I promise you guys, leaves, look. Let me show you something. Let's go out here to the Retro Fox. Check this out. I had to put something over this. Look, the Retro never stays outside. Like this car always stays inside, and look at the leaves that are already down in here. I know it may only look like one, but I promise you there's more. And these things creep their way in, and look, they're all stuck underneath here. You see them on top, like you can see them up here and you kind of blow them off. Well, they just blow down through the crevice and they disappear on you. Well, they're not actually going away. They're sitting over in the corners of your fenders, right up here in your cowling. Listen to me, it's hard enough to keep these cars from rusting away, right? We don't need any help from the leaves and things like that. Now that is definitely something you can control. I'd prefer you probably use a vacuum so that you can make sure it all comes out, but you can use a blower and just stick up in the hole and blow this stuff out. First off, let's try to use a leaf blower and see how much of this we can get out. Look at that, guys. That worked out pretty good. And that's very simple. And I believe most people have a leaf blower. So maybe that's going to be your answer. But look at the rust that's already starting to form. If this isn't taken care of, you could have an issue later on down the road. Let's see what this side does once we start trying to blow everything out. Okay, so this side's going to be a little harder, as you can see, to get everything out. So at this point, you can take your vacuum and just run up in there and you should be good. All right, so let's say you've cleaned everything out and now you're wondering, well, what do I do with this? You know, you're starting to freak out a little bit. You got a little bit of light rust and you don't want it to go any further. What can you do? You're gonna want to come in and just wipe it down and clean it as best you can. You can use denatured alcohol, wax and grease remover, you know, whatever you want to use. But I'll show you what I would use to fix this if this was the case. You already know what it is.
Yep, I do.
You really got two choices here. We've got a rust, what is this called? Rust mort. So what this will do is convert rust and pretty much it'll kill it, right? It'll make it hard as a rock and put like a protective layer over it. This is really, really good stuff. And then the chassis saver. This is probably, what do you think? Probably gonna be the best option?
Yeah.
And
definitely.
All you gotta do with this stuff is, trust me, if you ever get any of this around the edge, you will never get this cap off again. So as you can see, we just pop a hole in, drill a hole or something like that. Future Brutal here. I do wanna mention something. With the rust mort, it actually needs a rusty surface to be able to do its work. So if you're cleaning all the rust off and you're getting down to bare metal, like with a grinder or something, that's actually not preferred. They prefer that there be some type of surface rust, I guess, for the stuff to work. But here's what I really want you to know. The chassis saver that I'm showing you is great to be able to paint on any area that you can get to. The rust mort is really good to just kind of stick up in there and spray it all up into the cracks and crevices and really hard to get to spots. and you can leave it. That's all that needs to be done once you spray that rust mortar in there. I just want to cover that. You could also put it in a pump-up sprayer with a wand and get to areas that otherwise you couldn't. I just wanted to clear that up. Right in your cowl here, just drizzle it in and come in with a paintbrush and paint it. Okay, that's one option. And then here's this option. This would be probably the easiest to use. And you can just spray this stuff in here and it's not gonna hurt anything. Removes and converts rust prior to applying body filler, primer, or top coat. So anyway, there you go, guys. And you can come back after you're done with either one of these, let them dry for a couple of days and come back and paint, do whatever you wanna do inside. He was working on the Mach 1, what, today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, working on his 73 Mach 1 that a lot of you guys have not even ever seen. I drove that car in high school as well.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's still got the little placard on the back, the decal on the back of the car, and he's been kind of working on it. I think if you had to pick between the two, which one you wanted to work on right now, which one would it probably be?
Mach 1.
The Mach 1. So that there again, that's why I'm not pushing him too hard on this car, because he'd rather work on the Mach 1. And to be honest with you, I would too. But the Mach 1's not at my house; it's at his house, so it's harder for me to work on, and vice versa. So you guys get it. But we may do something with the Mach 1 here pretty soon. Really, this car is pretty much buttoned up as far as rust goes. We got all this stuff sealed up for now, although it's not pretty, and it's just, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. None of this is pretty. It's not meant to be. This is just caked on for now. What it does, though, is preserve the body of the car until we can get in and start to sand it. And at that point, you know, we can park this thing in the shop, you know, as we're working on it. We won't have to worry about rust. But right now, no bare spots. We don't want any bare spots on this car shown. So any work that we do to it right now is pretty much got to be covered right back up. And don't think that primer alone will stop your car from rusting. Primer is porous, and I promise you, if anything, it'll probably make it rust worse. Now, there are some primers out there. Some of the 2K primers, the two-part primers, kind of help prevent rust. But we sprayed the roof of that car with a good 2K primer, and it did start to rust, guys. So be mindful of that. Look, he's looking though. He's looking. You getting interested yet?
I was trying to see why that was bowed out.
What was that?
That.
Is it bowed out?
I think so. Well, it looks it's separated from the inner fender. And then a little bit. We just need pushing in. I think.
Oh yeah. Probably so. Ah hell.
We'll run over that Cody.
Probably so. We do have to put some different quarter glass in this car. This is not an update on his car per se, but I will show you guys the quarter glass that we got. I think a lot of people assume that this is what seals your quarter glass. You know what I mean? So as you see it up against the body of the car, you think, okay, that's what seals it. And then if you come around and you say, oh no, you know, my quarter glass is gonna leak. That's actually not the case. This thing is sealed up in here with butyl. Yeah, so that's just for beauty purposes right there. That's beautification right there. This quarter glass is in a lot better shape. It will need a little bit of repair down, especially down at the bottom down there, but it's not all shrunk up. So yeah, we should be good. A little bit of filler smeared around on there, fill in the pinhole, sand it off, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure that you're keeping your cars away from trees, as I've got my car pretty much parked in the trees over here, especially this time of year, because these little oak leaves, now you guys that have the really big leaves that fall, it's probably not that big of an issue, but for us, these little tiny oak leaves will find their way into everything. So be mindful, guys, it's that time of year again. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, and as always, thanks for watching.